What's going on, Wolfpack? You're very welcome to another episode of Degenerates of the Week. Thank you very much for joining me. In this episode, we're going to be heading off to Pierce County in Washington, where some burglary suspects have gotten their vehicle stuck in the mud as they tried to make an escape. We'll also be heading off to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where a police officer gets his vehicle stolen while he's conducting a traffic stop, and the suspect has a rubbish hiding place. Then we're off to Florida, where a suspect trying to get away from the police decides to hide in a pond. The only problem is he can't swim. On the 30th of January at around 3:15 p.m, deputies from the Pierce County Sheriff's Department responded to reports of a home burglary in Roy. While responding to the call, deputies were updated that the homeowner had disturbed the burglars and they had tried to escape, but unfortunately for the would-be burglars, their vehicle got stuck in the mud. When deputies arrived on the scene, they made contact with the woman who was driving the vehicle and detained her. They then spotted two other suspects running away, jumping over a fence and into a field. One suspect made the wise choice and gave himself up and surrendered, but the other suspect continued to flee. They took the suspect that had given himself up into custody, then more officers arrived to continue the search for the outstanding suspect. Canine Bronco and his partner were called in to assist, and that's where the fun begins.
Last chance, Pierce County Sheriff's Department is to be searched by a canine. Make yourself known. He will find you and he will bite you.
With the suspect duly warned, it's time for Canine Bronco to bring this incident to a close.
So right in here somewhere?
Yeah, right here. You guys, 5-6 minutes in there?
The howling racket you can hear in the background is Canine Eddie, who's very, very jealous that Canine Bronco is getting the track on this suspect and not him.
Did you walk through here, Marty?
Right there's about it.
Okay. Come on. Come on.
Bronco searches into the field, then back to the fence, and initially it looks like he may be tracking the deputy. But don't be fooled, Canine Bronco knows what he's doing.
Oh, well, bust that guy! Bust that guy! Show me your hands! Show me your hands! Let me see your hands!
Got my hands. You got both my hands.
Get your hands out!
Get up.
Get your hands out!
Lay down. You got both my hands. Both of them.
Turn over on your stomach. Turn over on your
I
stomach.
don't know how to do that.
Turn over on your stomach. Put your hand behind your back, dude.
I feel sorry for the deputy that has to put this guy in his vehicle. I wouldn't even bother washing those clothes after that. They're stains that ain't gonna come out. After they brought the runaway into custody, the police finished speaking to the victim and witnesses. The two male suspects were charged with residential burglary, and upon the police speaking further to the female driver, they believe she acted as a getaway driver, so she was also arrested.
And I just under arrest. Go ahead and put your hands behind your back. Alright. Can't drive somebody to commit a felony and then not get in trouble for the felony.
Great work there by the Pierce County Sheriff's Department in getting those burglars locked up, and of course not to forget Canine Bronco. I'm pretty sure Canine Eddie was even more jealous that Canine Bronco got the perp, but hopefully Canine Eddie will get a run out on the next one. As you can see, there's definitely no honour among thieves, as when it came to the crunch and they got stuck in the mud, it was every man and woman for themselves. Maybe instead of having that lady be their getaway driver, they should have just ordered an Uber. Any of you that have seen our first episode of Degenerates of the Week will know what I'm talking about, and I'll leave a link to that down below in the description, so check that out after this episode. For our next clip, we're heading off to the most populous city in the US state of Wisconsin, and that is Milwaukee. And why are we headed to Milwaukee, I hear you ask? Well, back in 2022, some gurrier decided to steal a police car while the officer was conducting a traffic stop. This suspect may like to think he has gonads of steel, but in reality, all he has is unfathomable amounts of stupidity.
Looks like somebody just stole my vehicle heading northbound. Okay, did you say your vehicle? In front of the vehicle 106 heading southbound on Holton Street. Lights are still on. Holton what? Holton and southbound. Off of Keith.
Take in, Ralph.
Yeah. Do we have GPS on that car? Yes, there's GPS on the car.
Hi, this is what's that spot number again? You said 106?
Berline Richards, the guy's running westbound. Berline Richards, it's a white male, blue jacket, blue jeans.
I noticed as soon as he heard over the radio that there was a GPS tracker in the vehicle, he scarpered. And I suppose these days something like that is to be expected. I think having a GPS tracker in all police vehicles would be good practice for departments, especially if there's an officer working on their own and they become unresponsive over the radio. At least you know where the vehicle is, and then you can send another unit out to check that everything's okay. There have been plenty of cases down through the years when officers have been conducting traffic stops on their own and bad things have happened to them. It may also help too if an officer is requesting backup and they're in an odd sort of a location. It may help other officers pinpoint them more accurately. I'm not quite sure what these systems will cost to implement in all vehicles across a fleet in a department, but I'm pretty sure over the last number of years with technology improving, the cost of these systems has come down significantly. So in my own personal opinion, if departments haven't got this sort of a system implemented, it may be worth looking at. But now back to our fleeing suspect, who actually turns out to be 34-year-old Daniel Barton. But I think Mr. Barton got his inspiration for a hiding place from Sesame Street. But it wasn't going to be Mr. Barton's lucky day, because when another officer arrived in the area, a good citizen pointed at a Milwaukee garbage can and stated he's in the garbage can. The defendant was then located inside the garbage can with the lid over his head.
$855, come up to the alley. So I was like, put your hands on your head!
Put your hands behind your back.
I don't have a case, so sorry.
I really don't get these people. What an absolutely pointless act of stupidity that was. Probably another one of these people that's just doing it for the clout. Barton was charged with a misdemeanor and released from custody pending a competency evaluation. A warrant was issued for his arrest in February for missing a court date. So it would seem like Mr. Barton is another one of these criminals with ostrich syndrome. That of course is a tendency to bury your head in the sand and run away from your responsibilities and problems. I'm sure at some point the authorities will catch up with Mr. Barton and he'll eventually have to face the music. For our next clip, we're headed over to Tallahassee in Florida. The Tallahassee Police Department and Leon County Sheriff's Office collaborated together to locate and apprehend the suspect who was attempting to flee. The event unfolded when officers were alerted to a stolen vehicle in the area. The suspect, who was quick to flee, abandoned the vehicle near Bragg Drive, disappearing into a nearby wooded area. The Leon County Sheriff's Office then commenced a track with a canine unit. Air 1, the Tallahassee Police Department's aerial unit, proved instrumental in guiding officers to the suspect's location. To the officer's surprise, the suspect had sought refuge in a pond, submerged with only his head above the water to breathe, effectively concealing himself from the officer's view. We'll jump in now with Air 1 as they locate the suspect.
I have found something out here in the pond. It's hot. It doesn't look like anything else I'm looking at. I don't know if this is a person or not. If it is the person, then he's pretty well concealed under some shrubbery. But there's a trail, a well-beaten trail that runs right to where this thing is at. I don't know how dedicated you guys are to check it out.
Air 1, if you think it's a person, if you can find me, I don't know what I can shoot you up, but we're right here on the edge of the pond.
Go south, southwest. Hold your arm back out. All right, go turn it right, 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 right. Stop.
This way is out.
Hey, if you ain't call out now, we will be dog bit.
There he is. That's your bad guy. All right, dog was almost on him. Be quicker.
Our suspect seems to have got himself into quite the spot here and gestures to officers that he can't swim his way out of there. I think he's now realising the flaw in his plan.
We'll walk.
All the way up. Keep going the whole way.
Come on.
I keep pointing.
Well, it's you can walk. So come on. Yeah.
Hey, let me see your hip.
Very unfortunate for the officers involved here having to go in there and get completely destroyed trying to apprehend this guy. I think both the suspect and the officers are very brave going in there because this is Florida after all and that place could be filled with alligators.
Go on, 10-15. Everyone, good job. Guys, I'm sorry you got wet, but that was a great job. Fantastic job, everyone.
A great job there by the Leon County Sheriff's Department and of course the Tallahassee Police Department also. Probably best for that guy's own safety as well. As I said, there may be alligators present in the water there. And also being stood in the water like that, only dressed in your shoes, trousers and a t-shirt or vest, you wouldn't be too long about feeling the effects of hypothermia setting in. A really stupid decision, and had the police not been able to locate him, who knows what may have happened to him. Now guys, while we're on the subject of Florida, I couldn't not talk about this news story that I came across, and that is one about an event called the Florida Man Games, which has been promoted as the most insane athletic showdown on earth. The Florida Man Games pokes fun at the state's reputation for bizarre stories that involve brawling, drinking, gunfire, reptile wrangling and other antics carrying a risk of time in jail or intensive care. The event takes place on Saturday the 24th of February in St. Augustine with contestants and sideshows inspired by real events from America's most surreal state. It's reported that several thousand people have paid real money to come and cheer a dozen teams at the debut event. One of the competitors, 42-year-old Larry Donnelly, said that he has an absolute disregard for self-preservation and will do anything. Donnelly owns a St. Augustine pressure washing business and serves as the captain of a 5-man team called Hanky Spanky. And Mr. Donnelly alleges that when he was in the military he did a little alligator wrestling. Now I don't know what branch of the military involves alligator wrestling, but okay. I'm pretty sure though it must be one of the amphibious divisions. To train for the upcoming games, Donnelly says that he rode a bicycle around his neighbourhood with a second bike strapped on his back. I'm sure that proved interesting for the neighbours. The event he's competing in on Saturday is a race requiring competitors to switch between bikes while toting a catalytic converter and a handful of copper pipes, common items in Florida theft stories. Other events listed include ones involving contenders wrestling sumo style while holding pitchers of beer, or running from actual sheriff's deputies while jumping fences and avoiding obstacles. Some signed up to do duel with pool noodles over a mud-filled pool, while others faced a scramble to grab cash flying in simulated hurricane winds. Florida Man Games organiser Pete Melfi said that he was stunned to find nobody else had beaten him to the idea for the spoof sporting event. He said he expected more than 5,000 spectators paying around $45 or more for a ticket to join in the fun at the city's Francis Field. Mr. Melfi said, "We kind of give a person an opportunity to live a day in the life of a Florida man without ending up in a police car," but said that he had to tone down some of the racier aspects of the Florida man mythos to obtain a permit. He said there's typically drugs and nudity, but the city frowned on it when I asked for drugs and nudity, which obviously you'd expect. Even asking for that sort of a thing from the authorities is a typical Florida man thing to do. Florida's claim to being the strangest state goes back a long way. According to Craig Pittman, a Florida journalist who wrote the book Oh Florida, How America's Weirdest State Influences the Rest of the Country, he noted that the first flag to fly over its state capital in 1845 bore the motto, "Let us alone." Apparently nobody listened, as Florida today has 22 million residents, the third largest population of any US state, and they also share the state with more than 130 million tourists per year. You cram that many people together, they're bound to start running into each other's cars and chasing each other with machetes, Pittman said. Leading up to Saturday's games, Joshua Barr and his Cooter Commandos teammates spent time whipping up fan support on Facebook with posts showing the trio chugging blue ribbon beer and jogging in jean shorts and mirrored sunglasses. Their team name comes from the turtle species celebrated by their hometown of Inverness. The Commandos didn't stop with online promotion and trash talking of rival teams. Barr, a 37-year-old movie reviewer and podcaster, said they also printed t-shirts, temporary tattoos and a large custom flag to wave on the field. We might be taking it more seriously than most people, Barr said. You just kind of have to be a part of the joke at this point. So there you have it guys, the Florida Man Games. Definitely an event that would be worthwhile attending just for the entertainment factor. And I think it's probably the only event that Degenerate Watch would get a press pass for. So the Florida Man Games is taking place on Saturday the 24th of February, and this video should be going out all going well on the 25th, which is the Sunday. So the Florida Man Games will already have taken place. So if by any chance anybody is watching this video that was at the Florida Man Games, please let me know what you thought down below in the comments. And if I can find any clips or footage or any news stories about the Florida Man Games, I will bring it to you guys in next week's Degenerates of the Week. As is always the case, when you think you've seen everything, along comes something else. Seeing that the Florida Man Games is taking place this weekend, it's only right that we end the video out with another Florida based incident. And for this one we're heading over to the folks at the Volusia County Sheriff's Department, where an 18-year-old man is accused of nearly causing several head-on collisions after he stole a pickup truck. According to the Sheriff's Office, 18-year-old Ebler Sylvain stole a pickup truck from the city of Umatilla in Lake County and drove recklessly at speeds exceeding 100 miles an hour. I wanted to feature this clip in the video because I think the police get a really good hit with the stop sticks here. Anyone that's watched a couple of police chases involving stop sticks will see that sometimes they can be very hit and miss. A lot of the time it can be very dangerous for the officers also, as they have to put themselves in harm's way to get the stop sticks in place. So let's take a look at the video and we'll do a little bit of analysis afterwards.
Oh, there it is.
20 Central, 6 authorized, pursuit on. Same for Deland.
Alright, he's coming over the bridge, high speed. 3, 2, 1.
I got 6 right here.
Yeah, he went in the opposite lane of traffic. He's high rate of speed.
Stop! Holy shit. Stick hit right at Circle K.
Okay, do we need more 6 on him? Yeah. Where are you bailout? Black mail, all black going southbound from 44. We need a field on the road.
Car's clear. Sorry. You copied about the 0 in phones? I don't know if that has anything to do with Lake County. No.
I heard the gun. I did not hear about a phone.
We'll send motor 13 up there and get him.
Well done to everybody involved there at the Volusia County Sheriff's Department for getting that guy stopped and apprehended before he caused harm to somebody. And I've just noticed now that all 3 of our videos tonight have had a canine in them in some form. Now I know in that last clip we couldn't actually see the canine, but we could hear them. And another thing that struck me was all of our suspects seem to be avid nature lovers, because they've all ended up in some form of wilderness. The first guy was in a wooded area, the second guy was in a kind of a swamp, and this guy was in a wooded area. So there guys, you have some completely pointless facts about this episode. As we seen in the video, the first attempt to get stop sticks into the pad of the vehicle didn't really go to plan, as they fell a bit short. I think that particular officer there was in a bad spot. It can be hard to get ahead of the suspect far enough to get into a decent position. But the officer with the second set of stop sticks gets it spot on. As the officer's waiting for the suspect vehicle to come into view, he turns around and stops oncoming motorists from coming any further. As the situation's very fast moving, I suppose that's the best the officer can do given the circumstances. As you can see here, this is a prime example of officers having to put themselves in harm's way in order to deploy the stop sticks. The officer is very exposed in the middle of the road, but he's positioned his vehicle in such a way that he does have a little bit of cover. And in my view here, because of the position of the police vehicle, it kind of funnels the suspect to the wider side of the road here, giving the officer a better chance of getting a hit. Now I just wanted to freeze things here so we could take a look at what's happening at the junction. And this is where my major concern would be. As you can see, there are quite a number of vehicles waiting here at this junction. My biggest fear here fear would be that the suspect would go over the spike strips and then go out of control and possibly go into one of those members of the public. And with the speed that this guy's gone and the size and weight of his truck, it's definitely not going to be a good outcome. Fortunately, the suspect manages to maintain control here somehow and doesn't hit anybody. I'm delighted that nobody got hurt during this pursuit, but do feel a sense of sadness for those people that do end up getting caught up in incidents like these. So many families have been torn apart by selfish acts from people such as this guy. So even though this pursuit had a positive outcome, let's not forget that there was potential there for a serious accident to happen. And with that, guys, it's a wrap on Degenerates of the Week episode 2. I do thank you very much for joining me, and I do hope you really did enjoy the video. If you did, don't forget to drop us a like, as it does really help the channel out, and do let me know what you thought down below in the comments. I received some nice positive feedback from our first episode of Degenerates of the Week from you guys, so I want to thank you very much for that. And I do hope you'll all join me again next week for episode number 3. As always, links to everything important can be found down below in the description, including ways you can help support the channel if you like what we do here. And if you'd like to get your paws on one of those Degenerate Watch mugs, you can do so by heading over to our store at the link in the description below. Before I go, I want to give a massive shout out to the legendary wolf pack that are my channel members. As always, guys, thank you very much for your continued support and encouragement. It is very much thoroughly appreciated. And not to forget, a massive shout out to everyone that's watching this with me on the premiere. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. I will be back next Sunday with episode number 3 of Degenerates of the Week. Please do join me then. All going well, I am hoping to get another video out before then. If you haven't seen the first episode of Degenerates of the Week, I'm going to leave a link to that down below in the description. Or if you haven't seen some of our other videos, why not check out some of the videos that should be appearing on screen now. Until next time, guys, I hope you all have a fantastic week. Stay safe, take care. Peace.